Hi, in the previous tutorial or screencast, we got an intro to the CRUD, to the basic CRUD structure. In that tutorial, we saw a script executor, which represents executable code of various types in various programming languages. Now we're going to see another type of CRUD. This is probably one of the most important ones because it allows you to do SQL database interactions. And this CRUD type is called a data statement. And the way you create it would be to right-click on a category in the CRUD base, select New, and then say data statement, and you give it a name, just as you would create any other construct. We're going to open an example of one which is part of the product, where you can actually navigate to the CRUD base and find all of these data statements there. When you open up a data statement, again, it's just another CRUD, so it has the same basic structure. You have pre-execution, post-execution, execution, security, parameterization. In addition, you see some other tabs that are specific to this CRUD type. In the case of a data statement CRUD, you have a template. This is where you enter your SQL statement and parameterize them. As you can see here, you can just enter the parameterization with the basic format of entering parameters in SQL statements. You don't have to do any other work. On the compile tab, it will show you once you've entered your parameter that you've saved it. It will automatically extract your parameters for you. It will convert the template into an executable format by doing all the placeholder replacements. As you can see, the parameters have now been replaced with question marks. That's the format that would be executed by the JDBC driver. Other things to look out for here, you have your data source. This is where you specify your data source connection information. You can create data sources and drop them here to connect to a particular database. Some of these the other options here we'll get into. By default, the data statement CRUD type is meant to use prepared statements, so you don't have to worry about things like SQL injection attacks. You do have the option of doing dynamic SQL. If you drop a reference to, say, a velocity template here that returns a dynamic SQL, then it would use that to execute the CRUD as opposed to using the text that you enter in here. Again, you should look at the documentation for details on how to use these options. You have transaction support and data modeling, which is an advanced and new technology introduced in the CRUDzilla web application platform. Again, there's documentation on that, and then maybe a different screencast where I'll get into details on what this means. But this is probably the most fun you're going to have doing database operations really in any programming environment, because it's simple, straightforward, almost no code that you have to write other than having to specify your SQL statements. So we'll do a quick test. Let's run a test to get data statement. Another thing that I probably didn't mention in the previous lesson is that CRUDzilla is built using CRUDzilla. In other words, it's a self-referencing platform that uses its own construct. So you see get data statements. Well, these data statements here are retrieved from the database using other data statements. Similarly, when you want to create a new data statement, an existing data statement exists. The add data statement, if you open this up, I believe it's the one that we're just looking at. That's what you actually use to create new data statements. So it's self-referencing. It uses itself to build additional functionality. So we'll do a quick run of this. Let's just do run, and it should return all the data statements available in the CRUDzilla product. As you can see, it returns a JSON data structure. Again, zero code. You don't have to do any work. You just run it, and it returns that information for you. And you can actually see the raw JSON if you just run it as text. So here's the actual JSON data that is returned for us. As you can see, again, no additional work on your part. Just specify your SQL and do a test run. And of course, you can, in your applications, you just need to specify the URL for this data statement, and it'll work just as any other URL should work. So that gives you an overview of the data statement. Again, if you've done any kind of CRUD, that is CRUD operations, CRUD as it relates to database operations. Once you do it in this environment, you probably would never want to do SQL interactions in any other way. It's very straightforward, nice user interface. You're not buried in code anywhere. It just makes sense to do things this way. So again, if you want to find out details on what options are available to you, there are many other options available. Just look at the documentation; it's really nicely done, and it can provide you with all the information you need. So this is your introduction to doing database interactions in CWAB. Again, it's very straightforward. Stuff that would have taken you a long period of time to do, you literally can do it here in a few clicks. Thank you very much.